It is Wednesday, and it's time for another edition of Litter Media Live with the icon, Mike Smith. I'm Dan Ramey, the great pumpkin. Something left over from your interview just a moment ago with Anissa
Osborne, yes.
Osborne. Wonderful lady.
Yes, she is.
Was she not fantastic?
She was great.
Had plenty of information in regards to the Pumpkin Show, which is coming up in mid-October. So looking forward to that.
It won't be long. Be here for you now.
That's what we always say, isn't it? It's much like November. It's almost here. But we got to get to October 1st, which doesn't begin until Sunday.
Sunday. Everything's a commercial.
I recall when I was a kid growing up, and it seemed like it was Sunday, National Trail Raceway.
Yeah.
Seemed to be the place to go.
Yes. Or Jags. Is that even still in business?
I believe they are.
Auto parts or something like that?
Jegs.
Yeah.
The voice of Jegs was Steve. It's horrible.
Not Edwards.
Yes.
Was it really?
The real Steve Edwards.
I did not know
was
that.
the voice of Jegs.
How about that?
He and I, and we're jumping into our radio moment early here.
Yeah, really.
He and I worked together for a short stint in Columbus, and we were talking one day, and he was a young boy from Wellston, Ohio, and he ends up becoming the voice of Jegs.
Now, when I met him, it seemed like his glasses are about that thick. Were they still there?
They were still about that thick when I saw him as well. Right. He replaced me at Easy 108 when I left Easy 108 to come to Chillicothe. And so, I don't know how long he was there, however.
Yeah. One of the great voices of our childhood.
Back when we were in school, it was Stereo 98. WNCI, where he was working at the time. So.
It was O'Malley in the morning. I don't know if Bob came on. Bob Nunley was before Steve or vice versa.
I was thinking Bob worked in the afternoons.
I think he did, but was Steve on middays and then Bob?
That may have been the case.
I think that's right,
yeah. Because when I worked with Bob Nunley at Sunny 95, he was the afternoon guy, Bob Simpson was the morning guy, and I was the midday guy. And they would always call me the midday fluff in between the two drive times.
And then I'd always turn it on TVN at night and listen to Steve Boom Boom Cannon.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And I think Boom Boom's still around, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's been on the air for a while.
Right.
But I believe he's still around. So, in fact, one of my former broadcast students is involved with WTVN's broadcasting now.
Okay.
So
good deal.
So, hi, Chuck. All right, let's get back to the weather. We've rambled on enough. That's our radio moment for the day.
We already got it out of the way.
Yeah. Right. Weather-wise, what are we looking at here today?
We think we're going to get some rain today. Increasing clouds for today with rain developing this evening, maybe late this afternoon, early this evening, and going through tomorrow. Although looking at the radar before the show today, rain coming up out of the southwest. Looked like we could possibly get some this hour, but it was kind of like that little spritzy rain we had the other day, but I think we're going to be looking at a little bit more showers later today and tonight. 78 the high today, 72 for tomorrow, and nighttime lows of 60. If you got to be out, bring a jacket with you.
That's perfect weather.
60. Oh, I got to have a long sleeve.
Yeah, I know, because you're like super cold-blooded.
I'm a wimpy guy, yeah.
Yeah, that he is. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at news topics for you for today, along with sports, so stick close for that. We're going to mix in some marching band as well today, so we'll talk about that in a bunch of ways. I'll ramble on about marching band very easily. A couple of instances about it today.
Are you emceeing this thing Sunday?
I am not.
Okay.
I was invited to it, but I don't know if I can be there or not.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't make any promises. All right, coming up in a moment, news, but first, this from Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you are looking for a way to clean up a bunch of junk around your house or around your business, and you just got a bunch of stuff you want to get rid of, you need a dumpster for that. So why not give a call to our friends at Scioto Valley Dumpsters? The number to give them a call is 740-835. Nope. That's not it. I don't have it in front of me.
253-8389.
Thank you. 253-8389. It wasn't showing up on my smartphone fast enough for me here. But Saginaw Valley Dumpsters can take care of all that for you and haul it away when you're done. And everything will look nice and clean at your place. All thanks to Saginaw Valley Dumpsters. Give them a call at 740-253-8389. Tell Carl, Dan, and Mike sent you. News
Find a career
is
you
next.
love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
Let's take a look and see what be making news today on our website, littermedia.com, and on our social media.
We just put it up here a few moments ago. This was based on an interview you had with Bart Henshaw here recently about the Meet the Candidates Night returning after being away for 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah, and last year they did a little sit-down thing with the candidates could sit at a table, and then they would go to the next. It was like speed dating. You could have a candidate visit with you at your table with your group of whoever, and then they would move on to the next one after the bell rang or whatever it was that they used there. But now they're back to being there in person, everyone in an audience at the Ross County Service Center, so your opportunity to do so. If you want to find out more about what's going on with this, you can check out our interview, which is up on our YouTube channel right now, with Bart Henshaw, who has been a longtime member of the League of Women Voters, and it's going to be mayoral candidates and the city council candidates for Chillicothe. They do have some issues they'll discuss, but the introduction and everything, she did say everyone's been invited. Not everyone has responded yet as to who will be back.
You can also find that. There's a link in our website story at littermedia.com. World Heritage Celebration, of course, that's October the 14th, but we spoke with Melanie Young and Gene Betts here recently about this, can I say, momentous or monumental announcement.
Absolutely. When you see, and I saw them share on Facebook some, the big television they have on downtown now. It's usually got Channel 10 on it and some things, but they had a nice display for the designation of World Heritage distinction and congratulating Ohio as Chillicothe in this area, Newark and down around Lebanon.
Yeah.
All the first site for World Heritage designation in Ohio.
That's a big deal, folks.
It is.
That's a big deal. And only the 25th in the United States.
Incredible.
Yeah. Other news, another program we had here just about an hour ago on special edition for Pickaway County was the Circleville Pumpkin Show. We had Nanisa Osborne promoting various activities and attractions. Now, you might remember several years back, they started the Tuesday night preview. And I always remembered this because when we were at the radio station, it was always the same night of city council. Circleville Council. So our Kevin Coleman would go to the council meeting, which lasted about 5 minutes. They would adjourn and run over to the preview. So that's on Tuesday night, but the actual opening of the Pumpkin Show is 9 a.m. on Wednesday, October the 18th, and runs through the 21st. If you go to our interview with Nanisa, she'll talk about everything that's going on, and it kind of sounded like she was playing up to old Aaron Glandon over here. Just stop by my office. We'll take care of it.
He is going to be our reporter at the Pumpkin Show this year, so looking forward to seeing what he will bring back to us. McGuffey Lane.
Donuts or pumpkin pie or something like that.
You've got to fund that. I'm not going to expect him
not
to
in
do
the
that.
budget, huh?
But McGuffey Lane will play on opening night, which is the 17th, for that preview. So if you want to go down and check them out. And then she mentioned the University of Dayton Flyer Marching Band will be in the parade of bands on Thursday, which always is a big, big parade.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't realize there was more than 100 in the band at Dayton.
Yeah, it's what they call the pride of Dayton.
Yeah, and Ohio State has more than 200. Of course, you've got the marching 110 over at Ohio University. It's really big when both of those universities show up.
We promoted this story about a week ago. Well, we got some bad news here yesterday that the Ross County Humane Society has canceled plans for their 6th annual Howl at the Moon charity costume party on October the 13th due to low interest. Society made the announcement Monday on their Facebook site. They hope maybe they can bring it back next year, but apparently a lot of folks had other things scheduled and they won't be able to handle that. But they're still working on ways to bring in funds for that new shelter.
Yeah, and this will be back next year from what we understand, but while they are canceling this event, and if you're looking to donate some money, why not donate it to the Ross County Humane Society, because they are in need of that.
Absolutely. You and I are too young for this, but way back when the world was at war, the USO was pretty big for our especially the men at that time overseas, but when they would visit the States on leave or just before leaving to go overseas, the USO was very big, and they had things called dances, well, over at Lancaster, that's coming up this Saturday night, the 27th annual USO-style hangar dance at the Historical Aircraft Squadron in Carroll, Ohio, just north of Lancaster. The event features the Z-Sharp Big Band playing classic big band tunes. While you're there, be sure to check out the huge collection of vintage planes and military vehicles as well. It's $25 admission.
So this is at the airport there.
At the airport.
Cool.
But that's what a lot of these USO dances were held on a base.
Right.
And they would clear the planes out of the hangar and they'd have a big dance. So if you can remember way back, this is kind of a hearkening to that.
And the USO is still in operation.
Oh, yeah.
I do recall when we were delivering Dan Jr., we took him to, at that time, Port Columbus. Mm-hmm. And the USO had an area where parents could sit, play games and everything with their kids while they were waiting for everyone to board that plane and fly off to whatever base they were going to. And that was Dan Jr.'s first time ever flying. Yeah. And, of course, he's flown much since, thanks to being in the Air Force. But I remember, and I know we're in the middle of the news here, but I remember him telling me he was working at Grand Forks Air Force Base, and a general was there, and he says, Airman, have you been up in the plane yet? And he says, no, sir, I've not flown with the refueling. He said, well, come on, you're going with me. Wow. He said that sergeant was ripping him up one side, down the other when they landed. And he's like, Ramey, where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, the general was right next to me. And I turn and look at the general, and he says, General, would you like to tell him where I was? And the general was letting him do his bit, and then he says, yes, he was with me. And the sergeant kind of toned it down after that.
Yeah. I see, yeah. Speaking of big bands here a while ago, a big band of a different kind. The Ross County Marching Band Festival is this Sunday out of Paint Valley High School. That gets underway at 3 o'clock, and I'm assuming this also includes the Marching Cavaliers.
It includes Adena, Chillicothe, Paint Valley, Huntington, Unigoto, Zane Trace, and there's one more band. There are 7 bands. Who am I missing?
Well, did
I say Unigoto?
I don't know.
Okay, so that would be the 7th.
If you include Chillicothe, that would be the 7th. So.
Precisely. Yeah. Yes. They have, I should have looked at the graphic here. That it's got all the, left to right, you've got Southeastern, you've got Huntington in there, you've got Adena in there, along with Paint Valley, and Unigoto, Zane Trace, and Chillicothe all together there.
Very good.
But that'll start at 3 o'clock. They'll have band rehearsal at 2. They've got food trucks going on. They've got a lot of stuff happening. And then they will all perform one particular song. And I got a feeling it's probably going to be Long Train Running, because that's one that all of them play at the football games. But they usually start off with the national anthem all combined as well. And it's really cool because then you have like almost 300 members out on the field playing all at once.
Can't
really
see this. Admission charge or not?
I can't remember if that is on there or not.
I didn't see it on the poster. Well, if you show up and they want money, give it to them.
Yeah, it's well worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they still do this, but at one point in time they did these airgrams. They would sell to people, and then they would run all that stuff up to the public address announcer, and they would read these special messages before the band performed, and it was usually a lot of fun. So,
Sounds like what they used to do with Harry Carey on his broadcast. Those could get kind of crazy sometimes.
but Chris Belusic's son is now the marching band director at Huntington.
Oh, okay.
William. And forgive me, he's going to kill me. He is a Huntington alum. He is the new band director at Paint Valley.
Paint Valley.
And he's the one that extended an invitation to me to come and see if we might be able to do a little something there. And our own Aaron Glandon has performed in this as well with the Edina Marching Band.
Mm. It's probably there may be something to that. Yeah. Well, check that out. That's at Paint Valley this Sunday, 3:00. With new housing developments and apartment complexes being built in the Tays Valley School District, the district is taking a proactive approach to monitoring growth in student enrollment and planning for the future of the district. A recent community-wide survey kicked off the master planning process, and now, Wednesday, October 4th, they will have a community presentation that will give more insight at the Tays Valley High School auditorium. That's open to the public. 6 p.m. is when it gets underway.
When I was there during the 4th of July, one of the teachers was telling me that the elementaries are all at capacity.
Wow.
Is that not incredible?
There's a lot of growth up there.
There certainly is.
Yeah. One other note, one of Ohio's most popular outdoor traditions continues when deer archery hunting begins statewide on Saturday, September the 30th. And the Division of Wildlife says the long-awaited opening day of archery season continues to see an increase in the harvest among Ohio's hunters. But be careful, okay? Be careful when you're out there, even with the bow and arrow. Road report, we stay in Ross County today. We're continuing for that bridge maintenance project on US 35 eastbound between Eastern Avenue and US 50 on the bridge over the Scioto River. At least one lane of traffic is maintained on 35 eastbound. 35 westbound is not impacted, and this project goes through this winter. And those are your topics for the day.
You know, you're talking about the deer hunting. My aunt, Jan, and my mother-in-law, her sister, I usually cart them around for Sunday evening church service, and we were driving back to Aunt Jan's house, and she goes, "Oh, look, there's deer." Well, I saw 3 deer making a left. They were leaving her yard. And as my headlights shined over, there were 5 more deer in her yard.
Yeah.
It turned out to be 10 deer all together. It was incredible. And they were all sizes, and some had antlers. So I don't know what kind of meeting they were having at Nan Jan's house, but we broke it up.
I don't know if you've ever ridden in a vehicle with Tom Beard very much, but if it was in deer season, you'd be driving down the road, look at that deer, and you slam on the brakes. And he's talking about over the field. So I said, don't do that. Just say, look in that field over there. Sprained my neck a couple of times doing that, yeah.
Whiplash. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. They are your total comfort advisor. If you've got some comfort needs, need to be taken care of. Now, I'm not talking about the comforter they put on your bed or anything like that, but they'll take care of your air conditioner and your heater and whatever plumbing needs you have. If you want their services, just click on this ad. It'll take you right to their website, and you'll find out numbers to reach them wherever you are here in Southern Ohio. They stretch their range over from Dayton all the way over to Athens, up to Columbus, and down along the Ohio River. For accurate heating, cooling, and plumbing. Sports next.
At Rathkamp Financial, we offer customized investment solutions and superior client service. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. And we promised we would mention this. The Kingston National Bank is the sponsor for the pumpkin weigh-in at the Pumpkin Show. And as Anissa was leaving, she said, I forgot to mention that. So I said, we'll take care of it on the show today. So thank you, KNB, for sponsoring our program, but also sponsoring the pumpkin weigh-in.
I think we ought to see if Marty Ford can lift one of those giant pumpkins.
I will guarantee he cannot. He might be willing to sit behind the controls of the big giant crane that hangs it over and sets it down. That would be neat.
Big. Yeah.
All right, sports.
OHSA football computer rankings show more than a dozen area teams within the top 16 as the latest polls came out yesterday. And again, you need to be in the top 16 at the end of the regular season, week 10, to get in. So there's still a few more weeks of this to go. The weekend of October the 20th, which is the last regular season football game, we'll find out who is in and who is not. Game of the week, you've got your extras out there.
Yeah, from this past Friday's ball game, Chillicothe and Hillsboro still working on the highlight video. Hopefully we'll have that for you here this afternoon or maybe this evening. And but if you want to enjoy the marching band performances, the post-game interviews, if you've not seen those are all available on our YouTube channel right now.
And the Little Media game of the week this Friday, a big one in the Mid-State League, Bloom Carroll at Logan Elm.
We visited yesterday with Terry Holbert, head coach of the Logan Elm Braves. We're scheduled to talk to Coach McKinney from the Bulldogs of Bloom Carroll. That's today, but we'll have everything for you on our Litter Media Game of the Week pregame show tomorrow at noon.
Very good, sir. Division II boys sectional golf at JC's yesterday. Sheridan, Warren, Alexander, Circleville, and Logan Elm advanced to the district. None of the SVC teams were able to qualify. However, SVC players Charlie Lewis of Unioto, John Grandolski Jr. of Zane Trace made it out of the JC's event. Washington Courthouse's Garrett Wall and Isaiah Wynn and Isaiah DeLong of Fairfield Union advanced. Now, there was a South sectional for D2 at Portsmouth. Wheelersburg, Ironton, Fairland, Waverly, and Gallia advanced as teams. Piketon's Brevin Wooldridge and Cole Keller advanced as individuals, along with Brandon Eichenlob of Northwest and J.J. Smith of Minford, along with Chesapeake's Jacob Skeens. The D3 boys sectional, that is being held today.
And the D1, is that next week?
I believe it is next week. Chillicothe, for example, I think they told me, Coach Fisher said they have to go to Granville.
Yeah.
And they're playing some of the top-ranked teams in the state of Ohio, so... Some big volleyball in the area last night in the SVC in a battle of conference first-place teams. Unioto needed 5 sets to beat Adena, and in that 5th set, Unioto was up 8-1 and 14-7. Now, remember, you just have to go to 15. But Adena came back and tied it at 14 before Unioto finished it off at 16-14. We talked with Unioto coach Jimmy Hutton after the match on what they needed to do to get this thing put away. Talk about the 5th set and what you felt like got you in. You were in the driver's seat, but it started slipping away. What made the difference there at the end?
I think it's an issue with you get such a big lead and, you know, you're way ahead, and the girls play not to lose, and they're not aggressive attacking the ball, they're not aggressive serving the ball, and I think that's what happened. That's exactly what Paul said to him. He said, "You guys are playing like not to lose." So I think that was the issue. I told him you only need 1 point. Sometimes that 1 point is hard to get. You know that.
You had a lot of your cast of characters, but I thought Abby Marshall might have been the X factor in that 5th set.
Abby definitely stepped up. She's had a little bit of struggling throughout the year, but like me and Paul talked about, when she's on, our whole team is a different team. And she did step up tonight. And Adena really wasn't defending the right side that much. And I don't know if you remember at Southeastern, that was our money on the right side with the Boldy. Remember her? So I think that was a big step up for her.
So Unioto sweeps the season series with Adena. They're a match-up with 5 to play in SVC action. Another big volleyball matchup in the Mid-State League. Conference unbeaten Bloom Carroll knocked off Circleville for the second time this season, but that was a 3-set sweep, and I believe Bloom now has a 3-match lead over Circleville in Mid-State League Buckeye action. In a Battle of Ohio, the Reds and Guardians last night, and Cincinnati comes out on top 11-7. Back at it again today or tonight?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
And the Reds, with the win, pulled within a game and a half, so they picked up a game in that wild card spot, but there's only 4 games to play.
They have to win out to have a shot.
Yeah.
And you take a look, the Cubs are playing, I think, 3 more games with the Braves and then 3 games with the Brewers.
Yeah.
So I think if there's a chance for the Reds to leapfrog anybody, it would be them. The Marlins, however, they were rained out yesterday with the New York Mets. They're playing 3 with the Mets, and then they finish up with the Pirates. Now, can the Pirates find that magic that they used against the Reds and to help them? I don't know. But it comes down to you got to make sure you get the pitching going, and Hunter Green didn't have it last night. All 7 runs were charged to him, but the Reds went deep, and De La Cruz, man, 119.6 miles per hour off of his bat for that last home run he hit. He had 2 home runs on the night. He was extra happy, and the crowd was extra happy for him, too.
He was overdue. Yeah.
Yes.
So go Reds. Well, yeah. Guardians are out of the playoffs, so I think maybe even Cleveland fans are rooting for the Reds now.
And Tito is retiring.
Yeah, I saw that.
So here's a guy who Terry Francona, who we're talking about, was a Reds infielder at one point in time, and he and Marty Brenneman were very close.
Yes.
Remember Marty talking about his chats with him over the years and how great of a friendship that they had. So thank you, Terry Francona, for what you've done with the Indians as well as the Guardians.
Absolutely.
In that regard.
All right, that's sports.
This date in history, we turn the Litter Media Wayback Machine to...
We're still talking big band music today.
1942. That's right. Okay, so that's coming up here.
I'm in the mood for some big band music.
You should be.
Yeah.
You should be. All right, that's just ahead. But first I want to tell you about McDonald's. Who's not in the mood for McDonald's, right? We've got McDonald's on the brain here this morning because today is their open interview period from 2 until 5. If you're looking for work, they're looking for crew members for McDonald's. So the area locations, talking about Circleville, down in Waverly, also over in Greenfield, and the 4 locations here in Chillicothe. Open interview time with the manager from 2 until 5 p.m. today at McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
This date in history, next.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just
it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra.
This date in history, the great trombonist. I don't know how great of a trombonist he was, but he was a band leader.
He had a sound that was very unique. If you've ever watched the Glenn Miller Story, it was different than anything else big band was doing at the time, and the kids loved it.
I don't know that he stuttered like Jimmy Stewart, though.
You're probably right.
Despite the fact that Jimmy played him in the movie, right?
That's correct, yeah. On this date in 1942, Glenn Miller led his final band performance as a civilian, joining the U.S. Army later to lead the band in entertaining troops during World War II. So we were talking about those hangar dances. Mm-hmm. That was the thing. If you've ever watched that Glenn Miller Story, the guy that was the general over the music department for the United States Army, he wanted it just typical military style music. Mm-hmm. But Glenn souped it up, and the general didn't like it too well. But General Hap Arnold, who was the head of the Army Air Corps, he was at one of the parades that day. He did like it, so guess what? Glenn got his way. Yeah.
This goes back to my Air Force story with my son, and the general saying, hey, it was okay, he was with me.
Yeah.
It's
good for the morale, Glenn. Keep it up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Glenn Miller. His trombone is on display over at the Air Force Museum in Dayton. And when I was there this past December, not only and this was great for taking pictures. The light in the display was not on. So I was able to take a couple of good snapshots of that. But I was also taking a look at the names on the roster of the band at the time. So you got to see that stuff too. It's rather interesting. Just one of the small things, and if you're not a trombonist, you probably don't care. But when we were at the Air Force Museum, I had to check that out. And I spent time reading, and my son's like, "We've got planes to see, Dad." And I'm like,
I want to look at this here.
Looking at this right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the Glenn Miller Band, Glenn Miller Orchestra, played at Waverly High School not a few months
still
ago.
going.
Yeah.
Even though Glenn, of course, if you know the story, they never found him. He disappeared, but they believed years later that when he was flying from England over to France in a small plane, it was oftentimes custom if bombers came back from these high altitude runs with bombs, they were dropping them in the English Channel.
Friendly
and
fire.
They think that it's possible that one of those hit his plane because it was a very, very foggy night.
There's a portion of the Captain America story in which the plane goes down in the water and Captain America comes up out of the water. I was thinking to myself, I wonder if Glenn Miller was actually Captain America.
Well,
wouldn't that be awesome?
A lot of people loved him.
But we've never seen Captain America play trombone, so I don't know. He has led a band of not misfits, but mutants in some respects.
Yeah, that's true. Crusaders, yeah. There you go.
I don't think Crusaders is the word. Well, I guess they were kind of Crusaders.
Well, they fought the bad guys, right?
They did.
That's it.
Yeah, but that's not their name.
I got nothing else. I don't know where you're going with this, but
Avengers.
I'll let you bail yourself out on
Avengers.
that one.
I was drawing a blank on the name Avengers,
Yeah,
and I'm
okay,
saying it's
yeah.
not Crusaders.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Crusaders, but it's Avengers.
Got it.
So, all right. Marvel would be happy that I finally figured it out.
Thank you for doing
All right, that's it for the program today. Coming up tomorrow, we have
the preview show.
The preview show. Do we have a special edition tomorrow?
I do not know.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking there was one more this one. Let me just double look at my calendar here.
Unless you've got one in the afternoon.
Yes. Tiffany Baldwin will be here tomorrow morning at 10 to talk about Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Which has the Wiener Dog race in it this year.
Lovely. Yes.
That thing is just taken off on our social media. We may have to send Aaron to cover that.
Or race with the dogs or something like that.
No, just having it covered.
Okay.
We won't,
well, you could run the camera alongside.
We don't want to run the risk of him stepping on a dog. That wouldn't be good.
No.
So, all right. So that all is for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We'll talk about Oktoberfest and then this regular show and then back at it with the pregame show.
All righty.
Until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching Litter Media Live.